Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Jimmy Higdon, the state senator for Marion, Washington, Nelson, Taylor, and Mercer counties for our legislative update. It's January now, and you're back in session.
It is, and I am, yes.
It's a 60-day?
It's 60-day, yes.
Okay.
We Constitution says we shall end before April 15th, no longer than April 15th. So we will, we have, it's 60 days. We count Monday through Friday. We have some veto days built in there. So, but it's the so-called long session.
Right.
And this is a session that we tackle the budget and so.
So there's a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yes, we just had, at the end of 2011, we had the governor reelected for another 4 years, a new lieutenant governor.
Right.
Is going to be going in. And back on the plate again this year seems to be the gambling bill for that, which we're going to talk a little bit about. You said the budget going in there, there's a lot of money that needs to be found somewhere, right?
Redistricting.
And redistricting is a big thing. I mentioned that you're currently the senator for the 5 counties we mentioned, but that may change with the
that's
right.
That's right. We need to discuss that. But before we get started, I do want to thank you, Gary, and Channel 6. I know now you're on full time in Nelson County, Washington County, and Marion County, and it's amazing when I travel around to the districts, the people that say they see me and on Channel 6 and appreciate the updates.
Good.
So I want to pass that along to you and thank you myself for allowing us to do this, because it is very beneficial. Anytime we can help our constituents understand what's going on in Frankfort, it does help, and I thank you for that.
No, we appreciate you coming out and giving us the updates. You've been very accessible, so that's good.
Well, I want to be.
So let's get started talking about the redistricting. Okay.
The Constitution says that every 10 years after the census is taken, every state shall, really every county and every state in the country goes through a redistricting. And the Constitution, written a long time ago, and it says one man, one vote. If it was open, if it was written today, it'd probably say one person, one vote, but it was written a long time ago, one person, one vote. And what that means is that everyone has equal representation. Right. So we have several different types of redistricting. So we start out with the House of Representatives. There's 100 state representatives, and there's about 4.3 million people in Kentucky, so each representative district would be about 43,000 people. And under the Constitution, you cannot split those counties up unless they're, if you have a county like, Pulaski County. I represent part of Pulaski County at one time because it was split up because it has in excess of 43,000 people. Right. And that 43,000 people, when we redistrict this time, that's the optimum number. So the number that they do cannot be plus or minus 5% of that. Okay, so that keeps all the districts, similar, within plus or minus 5% of that optimal number. So that satisfies the Constitution. Over in the Senate, we have 38 members, 4.3 million people. So I think it's about 114,000 is that optimum number. We have to be every district has to be plus or minus 5% of that. You cannot split a county unless it has over 114,000 people, big enough to be a district on its own. We only have 3 counties in Kentucky that are larger than that. That being Boone County, Fayette County, and Jefferson County. And so that's kind of the ground rules. And so when we redistrict, we try to watch the constitutionality of it because it can be challenged in court. But when you start redistricting, and Kentucky is a rather wide state, so you start at the West Virginia border, and you start at the Mississippi, at the Mississippi River, and you work your way to the middle. Guess who's in the middle?
Us.
That's right. So, it used to be, fairly simple when you did redistricting. The population didn't change a lot. But this time, in the last 10 years, there's been a drastic shift in the population in Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky and Western Kentucky has lost population. And there's been a lot of growth in the Golden Triangle. Northern Kentucky, Louisville, Fayette County, down into Marion, Taylor County, and back up. That's where the majority of the growth in the state of Kentucky is in that Golden Triangle. Warren County and Pulaski County were some exceptions to the rule that gained population, but most of that population is right here in the middle. So East and West lost. In fact, Eastern Kentucky and Western Kentucky both lost a representative district, so they will move to the middle of the state. And through the combination of both of them, an entire Senate district. So Eastern and Western Kentucky lost combined, around 115,000 people, and that shifted to the middle of the state. So the middle of the state has a new senatorial district somewhere in that area. Okay. So as you do that, and we're right in the middle. So what it does, I've seen 7 different plans. And they either push me, they push me south, or they push me to the east. The ideal district for me would be, Nelson, Marion, Washington, Taylor, and maybe LaRue County. I can't keep the district that I have now because I have too much population. And I've seen that scenario. I've seen the scenario where I lose Nelson and pick up Mercer.
Where was the growth in the current configuration? Mercer?
Mainly Nelson, but Marion County picked up population. So did Washington. So did Taylor. All 5 of my counties grew population-wise, but the biggest one was Nelson County. So my district has about 10,000 too many people. Okay. So we have to be redistricted. We have to have a distribution to meet that constitutionality of one man, one vote. Mm-hmm. So, and like I said, I've seen all kinds of scenarios, and when
will that be decided?
We'll know for sure next week. We should know for sure next week what areas of the state that or what counties that I will represent, and of course. For the representative districts, we'll know those next week also, and then on top of that we have now the House and the Senate is very easy to do because we do the Senate does theirs, the House does theirs. We don't have to approve each other's.
Right.
The big one, where the real problem comes in now, is the congressional redistricting. And congressional redistricting is different again from the senator and representative districts. We have 6 congressional districts in Kentucky, and they have to be within plus or minus one person.
Wow.
One person.
Wow. So that's difficult.
It's not. This whole thing. The whole thing it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And then you add, some the politics into it, where the Speaker Stumbo has put out a map. It was put out today, and in that map, I think Marion County goes to the sixth congressional district. Marion and Washington County go to the 6th congressional district, and so there'll be the Senate will put out a map. A redistricting map, and probably Marion County will probably stay in the 2nd congressional district on that map. Now you also go into Washington County. Washington County, like I said, in the House version, I think Washington County goes to the 6th congressional district, and also in that plan, the House plan, the Speaker Stumbo's plan, Nelson County goes to the 3rd congressional district, which is in Louisville district. So, wow. Really, in our area, the 2nd congressional district would be changed quite a bit under the House version. Now the Senate version hadn't been released yet, but sometime I see it Taylor County's in. Sometimes I see it Taylor County's out. But Marion County has remained. Marion County, Washington County, and Nelson County, under the Senate plan, have all remained in the 2nd Congressional District. So what happened, the House will pass theirs, the Senate will pass theirs, and we won't agree with each other, at all. So we'll do what we call a conference committee, where we get together and try to come up with a compromise redistricting plan. And so it will be interesting to see how that all plays out. If we can't decide, then it goes to the courts, and the courts will determine, they will draw the line. So we're properly motivated to go in and draw the lines, and not let the courts do it. So that's more than you want to know about redistricting, but we should know here very soon and this is. This will happen, and like I said, I don't want to lose. If I had my way about it, I would keep the district that I have, because I love the district that I have. It's a great district, but it has too much population, and like I said, all the shifts. So we'll see next week, probably when the plan comes out. I'll probably have a district that wasn't included in any of the 7 proposals that I was shown. So we'll know this time next week.
And even though it will be determined hopefully next week, it will actually not go into effect until the next time voting occurs. Now, that will go into effect this year with the current House districts, correct?
Well, the races, they will be, all the legislative races in November will be for these new lines will go into effect January the 1st, 2013.
Okay.
And that's, the races that are run this fall, that's what they will be sworn in 2013. I don't run again until 2014, but my district, will change January 1st, 2013.
Right. So it will change, but you'll still be representing the current people you have until another election occurs.
Right.
Okay. So we'll keep you up to date on how that turns out. Maybe we'll get an update on that in the next week or so.